isn't anything that I would not do. I would not recommend without hesitation that Ceca can do this job, do it well, and the children of this county will benefit from her leadership. She has it. She has the passion. She knows if she's got to ask for help, she'll ask for help. She's not afraid of that. That's not weakness. That's strength. And Ceca can do this job, and I know she'll do it well. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being with us today. The next speaker.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My name is RJ Gillum. I am a resident of Leon County. I think I've probably had the opportunity to work with all of you all, except for you, Judge, in the past. And I am here to speak on behalf of Ceca Greene, who doesn't really need any help after that wonderful presentation. But I wanted to share my thoughts with you all today. Ceca is a consummate professional. She has integrity. She is a compassionate leader, and she will be and has been, honestly, a fearless and tireless advocate for Leon County's children. She has experience with the public, private, and nonprofit sectors, which not many of us can say we have. I've had the opportunity to work with Ceca in many different aspects. When I was at the United Way, I saw her work as she asked some tough and important questions as a team leader with CHSP, not just of the agencies, but also of the people on her team. We had some very tough deliberations in those rooms. And in a previous role where I worked for Florida CFO, I had the opportunity to work with a lot of our different children's services councils around this state on both financial literacy issues and Florida Healthy Kids. And I'm so happy that we finally have one here in Leon County. And I know that it's very important that you all kind of do things right as you begin, because like Mr. Mitchell said, you are under a lot of scrutiny. And I think that that makes Ceca the perfect leader for you all. I just also want to add that the person you have seen and heard from in this very public and transparent process is the person you're going to get every day, day in, day out, behind closed doors. She's thorough, she's intelligent, she's eloquent, she's dedicated, disciplined, and ethical. I could go on and on and on, but I'm sure there's a time limit. But I just want to add that Ceca is also my friend. I babysat her children, and they now babysit mine. She sang at my wedding, and her even temperament, her sage advice, this person you see here is what you're gonna get, is probably what keeps me coming back to her again and again for advice. So the experiences I've had in this community, I cannot wait to see what this Children's Services Council does. But more importantly, I just implore you to hire this amazing, talented woman, because she will do everything we need and more on behalf of the children of Leon County. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other comment cards?
Yes, sir. Mr. Jack Levine.
Mr. Levine, whenever you're ready, you're recognized.
Thank you, Your Honor and members. So I've traveled the state for 43 years advocating for children. I'm not asking for your sympathy. I'm just trying to tell you the fact that I have not missed a minute of any of your meetings is just an example of my interest in this movement, which is what it is. What I think about Ceca Greene is you have a person who knows how to say yes appropriately, and maybe as important, she knows how to say no appropriately. You heard that this morning, and I've heard that over time, because everything is about balance. Everything is about considering what the downside is of saying no. Many of our children have heard the word no, either actually or figuratively. I think what you are about to do in promoting her into this position is to say yes to the children of Leon County. And I support that 100%. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Levine. And thank you so much for coming to every single one of the meetings. We appreciate it. We really do. I really do. All right, so that brings us, any other comment cards? So all public comments, any other additional public comment? Didn't realize you had to fill out a comment card. Anybody want to be heard? You all hiding over there. I can almost say, but I can, if I crane my neck, I can see y'all. All right. All right, so now we're on to the committee recommendation, and we're in a situation today that we didn't anticipate when we designed the process. We designed the process, and the council originally asked us to recommend at least 2 names, but we don't have 2 names who are before us at this point. We now have 1 name that is before us, which is Ms. Greene. And so now it's our responsibility to decide what our recommendation, this committee's recommendation, will be to the full Children's Services Council when it meets next Thursday, November 18th, when Vice Chair Connor will be running that meeting in my absence. We have the full range of options from recommending that the council extend an offer to hire Ms. Greene to starting the process over again because we're not comfortable with the way the process went. And so that's kind of the range of options before us. I don't know, Commissioner Cummings, under Robert's Rules of Order, that we need a formal motion to discuss it. But I'd kind of just like to open it up to discussion and see what the reaction is of the committee members. Yes, Council.
Thank you, Judge Surstrom. I think we probably need a formal motion and then we move into discussion.
All right.
So having said that, I move that we advance the name of Ms. Ceca of Greene to the full council and recommend that she be hired as Executive Director of the Children's Services Council.
All right, so there is a motion. Is there a second? A motion and a second. All right, excellent. So the motion is to recommend Ms. Greene. Discussion. Is there discussion? Commissioner Cummings, you're recognized.
Thank you, Judge Surstrom. I want to first of all thank the individuals that came up and spoke on behalf of Ms. Greene. And I also want to thank Ms. Greene for being here, being responsive to the council. As a member of this committee, I was, of course, initially impressed with her written resume, with her educational background, and of course, experience in the area of dealing with children and families and those type of issues. I've been reading everything about her that has been submitted, and I have been very impressed today with her presentation and her response to all of the myriad of questions that we have posed to her today. I'm very comfortable that she could very well be the face of the Children's Services Council, the first Children's Services Council in Leon County that we have. And I think it's important that we have a face to represent us. I believe she's demonstrated today that she's a great communicator. She's very articulate. She's aware of the issues, even though I know that a lot of what we do as a council will be driven by the gap analysis, the needs analysis that will be done by the entity that we have employed. But I think it's important that we have somebody that already has the background and has a tendency to know that there are major issues, number one, and she also knows that there are gaps in services for our children. And I think her knowledge of those areas will be a great benefit once we get the needs assessment and the gap analysis as well. I believe that Ms. Greene will serve the council well. And I believe that she has a cooperative spirit, and I believe that cooperative spirit has been verified by the speakers that came up and spoke about her. I just have a sense that she has a great spirit of working with people on the council, Mr. O'Brien, and I think that our concerns and questions about a strong leader to lead us into this new adventure to elevate our children on so many different levels has been answered by her presence here today, Judge Sustrom. I don't want to take up all the time, but I just strongly believe that she is the leader in the face of the council that we need for this day and time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Cummings. Any other comments? Any other discussion?
Your Honor,
Mr. Mitchell, you're recognized.
So I think in the last meeting, I reflected on the fact that I actually reviewed all 166 applications, quickly discarded. I think I shared with you the part-time barista, but got it down to the 31 that was presented as staff and added one additional one, so 32. Ms. Greene was not in my top 15. And the reason she wasn't in my top 15 was because I was troubled by her movement from job to job, and most importantly, the job she currently has, which I think is an amazing job. And I was very much prepared to vote no today. I think it's amazing that 20 people showed up in support. I've as a chief of staff of 3 different agencies, one that Mrs. Gillum worked at prior to Mrs. Gillum working there. I've interviewed and hired a lot of people. I've never sat through a job interview where 20 people came into the office with the applicant. And at first I was a little put off by it. I'll be honest with you, because it's like, no, I know you all are personally attached to her, but I thought to myself, you know what? And it was actually Mrs. Gillum's comments that it's a little click. You're speaking to the person, and where my fear and my concerns that, Ms. Greene, you do move from job to job. And this job, to me, is too important to jump to another job. And I get the fact that life hands us things that we can't expect. But your answer that this is your county and you want to make a difference is believable. I am concerned. I'm going to tell you that. I'm concerned that with that, I'm concerned that you really haven't done your body of work doesn't lend itself naturally to this job. When I graded your resume and I graded your interview, I gave you a 5 on communication. You're amazing. You make an unbelievable presentation. Unbelievable enough that while there was an applicant that I thought was the perfect applicant, his name isn't before us. And I accept that. And so I'm kind of surprising myself, but I wish you well, and I intend to support your candidacy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mitchell. Any other comments? Any comments from the other folks? Principal Connor, you're recognized.
Yeah, I want to say that being a local in Tallahassee, I know Ceca, but I've seen Ceca in many different phases in life. And one thing that strikes me to let me know that this is the person for the job is she is a fundraiser. And to be a fundraiser, you have to ask people for things and to get something in return. That's a hard job. Being in my position, I know I hate doing that, but she raised quite a significant amount of money for the university. And she did this effortlessly. And I gave, and I usually don't give like that. And she convinced me to give.
You work for a public school.
Yes, and I, but the way all of that unfolded, and this was many years ago. I don't know how long ago this was, but it was many years ago when this happened. But the tenacity that she had and the drive that she had with that campaign was all on her own, and it came from her heart. So the operational pieces of this, she's brilliant. She's a smart lady. she can do that part, but the heart, I think, comes from the passion of the things that she does that you probably won't see. And that if you're a local person, you've seen that because you've experienced that. That's the first thing I want to say. But I also want to mention what sisterhood looks like in Greek organizations. Oh, yeah. And this is what happens. Yeah, but this is a beautiful thing. Cute colors. I like pink. But this is a beautiful sentiment of what sisterhood really looks like. And that this is a beautiful thing. And there are probably hundreds of more people that could have spoken on behalf of what they've seen. Again, being a local, I've seen what she's done for past 20 or so years. But I feel very certain that she can do this job, but she's going to do it with heart. Very certain of that.
Thank you so much. Mr. O'Brien.
Well, first, let me comment that I've never gone through a public process like this. I've always lived on the private side of the world, and there's a great comfort that comes with that. In this sunshine environment, it's a strange way to interview people and to make assessments. At the same time, I will tell you there's a political flavor to this, which is unfortunate because I think all of us have been tagged with some of that. And that's the part that, we try to shove aside and look at this independent of all of that. But I will say that the one thing about this job is this job is whoever takes this position is going to be the face of this program. We'll be the council, but there's a person who's going to be out there in the front of the community. And we need to recognize that 35% of the community didn't vote for this. Mr. Mitchell always reminds us of that. And that's a good thing for us to remember because we have to prove the value of this program to everyone, especially the 35%. Well, probably more importantly, the 65 that voted for it because we want them to vote for it again. But what we want is the next time around that more than 65, 35 really sees value in it and moves them along. This is a new job though as well. No one's held this job in this community before. And so it's a learning experience. And what I hope is that as we have a new director, a new head of this program, that they recognize the learning capacity of that, but also the educational point of it. And I do think that from what I heard today and prior with Ms. Greene is that she is a learner and is willing to take this journey with us. And that's important. The one thing I also just want to remind me and everyone else in this room and the council in general is, again, this is a new process. Whoever takes this role is going to need help and assistance. It's going to be not always a smooth pavement. And our job is to help that individual be successful in that role. So where there are blind spots, and I will tell you there are blind spots, our job will be not to criticize, but to point out and help to assist. And so moving forward, I feel like everyone else here, good about the recommendation and just want to make sure that we recognize this is a collective effort.
Good. So I'll just offer the following comments. I think back on this process, because this is certainly the first time I've ever been involved in an open public hiring process in this way. I've been involved in lots of hiring, of course, but this is the first time like this, and it has been an interesting experience. One thing that does stick out in my mind, at our last meeting, we gave an award to Ms. Goodman Taylor and Commissioner Proctor, and guy's a thinker. Commissioner Proctor heard what I said about that, because when I was asking Ms. Greene questions, I was asking was all about, we're standing up this organization. We're not even 15 yards towards the end zone yet. And Commissioner Proctor said, we recognize Ms. Goodman Taylor for all the work that she did, even though she had no reason to know how to do any of it, but had the courage to stand up and figure it out and learn it, as Holly has, as Ted has. I had no reason to think Ted Granger could do this. And we exactly.
Jury is still out, sir.
And that's now the next step that we take in the process, which is she helps us be successful. We help her be successful. So I think we have consensus. So what I'm going to do is ask that we recognize, unless there's an objection, that we recognize that the consensus of the committee is to recommend an offer to Ceca Rose Greene. Any further discussion? If not, we are adjourned. Oh, not so fast. I forgot one other thing. Yes, got Ted out of his chair. We have to extend Ted's contract month to month until we get a new executive director hired. Yeah, I think, does that require a motion? We think it does. Is it expired now? At the end of November.
I second.
Moved and second, and it's unanimous. All right, excellent. Thanks so much. We are adjourned. Progress, huh?
Before you